I'd like to introduce Jim Gavoni. He's the municipal forester and tree warden for the town of Windsor. Jim, planting trees is an important way to finish up our discussion today on how to handle roadside trees. Could you discuss with us what the important things are to think about?
I'd love to share that with you, Kevin. There's usually three phases that we look at when we plant trees in the urban environment. Urban environment is different than your natural roadside setting where you have a natural forest succession. In the urban environment, we plant the trees, we manage the trees, and we remove the trees. There's a lot of considerations we have when we plant trees inside the urban environment. We have to look at not blocking street lights, we have to look at not blocking traffic signals. Behind me we have a tree that's planted too close to a building. Those trees will put biomass on the roof that will cause premature decay of the roofs. We have to give considerations about sidewalks, lifting the sidewalks. Other considerations we have is that they don't have any type of poisonous berries or fruits that might affect our students in our schools. We also don't want them to drop fruits that are going to cause stinging insects that can be a nuisance to our public. Other considerations we have is some trees have seeds and some trees don't have seeds. From a municipal standpoint, when it comes to cleanup, we don't want a locust tree that's going to be dropping its seed pods all over our sidewalks, staining them, causing cleanup every day. We can choose a tree that doesn't have any seeds on it. It'll be a nice cleaner tree when it drops on the ground. Another major consideration in right tree, right place is your power lines and communication lines. We don't want to plant trees under them, and we don't want to plant trees above them. Storm Alfred crippled this state for over a week. So right tree, right place is becoming a big, important matter in the state of Connecticut. At this location here, I'd like to share with you that we have utility service coming into this facility. We have overline power that drops into the ground. This ground service goes up and feeds the building behind me. When planting trees, as I mentioned, we don't want to plant trees under power lines, and we don't want to plant them over. So you have to take into consideration this service running up to the building, and that's an area that we would not want to plant the tree. If you want to be 50, 60 feet on the side of it, that's perfect. But if we plant the tree there, at some point when they're going to go repair these services, then we're going to lose that tree. We're going to walk up top this hill now, and I'm going to show you some well-planted trees. Hi, right now I'm going to show you a couple of trees that are right tree, right place. Behind me on my right, we have some Zelkovas. It's a beautiful street tree in an urban environment. The branching structure on the bottom goes up like a vase, which minimizes the amount of work that public works crews have to do to maintain this tree. This tree is also a salt hardy tree in the salt environment from the salt that's put on the roads. When people exit this driveway behind me, there's no sightline issue because of the height of these trees here. Perfect tree for the setting. Now I'd like to show you a tree against this building over here. It's an oxydendron, a sourwood tree. That tree is planted too close to the building. It's a beautiful tree, but the vegetation on that tree eventually will get onto the roof of that building, causing premature decline. It'll also block the drains on that building, which is really a maintenance issue for the towns. Now I'm going to take you to another spot. Here we are on this piece of nice property here, and I have two beautiful trees to the left of me and to the right of me. Right tree, right place, perfect setting, plenty of room for these trees to grow. When they mature out, they have enough room to grow. They're not going to interfere with the parking lot, cars. It's going to be safe for people who come out here and picnic during the summertime. This is a beautiful Kuza dogwood here. It's going to add color in the springtime, signifying the change of season. This is the type of plantings that we like to see. So whenever planting trees, take the time to consider right tree, right place. And always remember, stay away from the power lines, stay away from communication lines, be careful of the sidewalks, be careful of the driveways, be careful of swimming pools, building structures. Give the trees a proper room to grow that they need to grow inside the environment that they should be in. At this point here, I'd like to touch base on tree selection for these sites. I find it's very important to purchase trees that are grown natively in our area or grown in the same climate. When selecting a tree, make sure that the tree has the structure that the tree is supposed to have. If it's a single stem, make sure that it's a single stem. If it's a double stem, make sure that it has a double stem. When you're observing the trees, just make sure that they don't have any type of grilling on them for tree wrapping. I want to talk a little bit about planting trees right now. When digging a hole for the tree, it really only has to be 4 or 5 inches bigger than the root ball. Once the hole is dug, make sure there's no glazing on the side of the hole. That has to be scratched up so water will move through it. When you go to set the tree, when the tree's set inside the hole, the root flare on the top of the tree should be 2 inches above the soil level. If there's a basket on the tree, the basket has to be removed, the burlap has to be removed. If it's container grown, the container has to be removed and the roots have to be teased out. The same soil is put back into the hole that's been removed from the hole. When planting the tree and setting the tree in, firmly work your feet around the root ball, packing the soil down. Once the soil is up to soil level, then it's good to apply a 4-inch layer of double ground mulch that comes from your native trees around your forest area. Whenever mulching trees, we do not want to see mulch volcanoes. That's a terrible practice. The mulch has to be taken 2 to 4 inches away from the root flare in the tree. Once this is done, the tree is set to go. Gator bags are the best way to water your trees. When you put a gator bag on a tree, the plastic bags that you see, those bags allow the water to drip right into the root ball. Pruning doesn't occur for 3 or 4 or 5 years afterwards unless you have a broken branch or a diseased branch. Leave the branches on the trees, let them grow. Once you get 4 or 5 years out of the tree, then you might want to change the scaffold of the tree. Good luck, happy